Hey guys, I wasn't planning on making this video today. I was planning on making it in the future, but I've really been thinking about it a lot. And I don't do YouTube full time. I have a real job that makes me money. And so YouTube is just something that I like to do, and I want to start using my platform for something good. And so I think one of the best ways to start that is by talking about living with anxiety. And if I start to reel over words over again, or you've already heard me say something, hopefully not, because hopefully I know how to edit what's going on, and I know how to edit it out. But also it's me just throwing out my thoughts and what my day is like with anxiety. So yeah, let's get started. So when I wake up in the morning, I just kind of lay there. I don't really do anything special. I don't get up and do yoga, or I don't go for a run. I usually wake up and I will, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, kind of wipe down my face, take a shower, whatever. And then usually, if I'm working, I'll just kind of hang out, because I work nighttime, evening shifts, and I usually close at my job. And so that often leaves a lot of time for just thinking and just time on my own. And I try my best to fill that with things playing video games, or coloring, or doodling, or I've been doing a lot of just editing of photos that I've taken in the past. So I try to keep myself busy. It's hard sometimes, because I am a generally anxious person. I have been diagnosed with a few different anxiety disorders, along with PTSD, depression, generalized anxiety disorder. I have something called detachment disorder, and I have something called catastrophizing, or something. Yeah, catastrophizing, which means my anxiety gets so bad, I go, okay, I'm gonna go to work today, and I'll go to work and I will be, making drinks, or ringing people out, taking their orders, or I'm just helping clean. And one of my biggest anxieties with this job is, what if someone comes in with a gun and they demand money, or they want to get into the safe, and it's scary. It's a really scary thing, because my job has taught me what to do. If someone comes in, you're supposed to give them the money, let them leave, whatever, and then you're supposed to call the cops. But because of who I am as a person, I know that I wouldn't do that, and so it's hard for me, because part of me is if someone if someone is ever going to come in, I'm probably going to be like, nah, fuck you. I don't care if you threaten to kill me, whatever. I'm going to protect our money, my job, and my other partners. So it gives me a lot of anxiety at work, just because I'm worried someone's going to come in and pretty much hold up the place. Something else that gives me a lot of anxiety at work is just talking to people. And if you know me, I'm a really outgoing person, and I really like talking to people, and I love making jokes and making drinks and hanging out with my other coworkers, whatever. That's who I am. I am a pretty positive person, but it's scary, It's just something that's in the back of my head. I really hate people. I'm an introvert, so I don't like to socialize, in spite of me being a really outgoing person and liking people in general. It's a weird thing that happens. Kind of going off from the catastrophizing thing, if something starts to go wrong, my brain will seriously start to unravel what will happen after every single thing goes wrong after that first thing. So when I was little, my father used to get deployed, and he would go to the Middle East or whatever, and part of me always used to go, okay, so if he dies, what's gonna happen? If he dies, then my family's gonna fall apart. My mother is going to have a hard time, what's going to happen to us kids, like how are we going to react? And then I started thinking about, okay, if my father dies, how am I going to take it, and how is it going to continue to affect my life? And it gives me a lot of anxiety, and it did give me a lot of anxiety even before I was like diagnosed with all these anxiety disorders. I was always a very anxious kid. When I was 7, I think, they put me on an anxiety medicine, but on top of my anxiety medicine, I had an ADHD medicine. And what ADHD is, it's a attention deficit disorder. And so, I have a hard time focusing on things, which is another reason I jump around on things. And this sun is in my sight, and it's made me look really red. So, slide to the left. That just makes me look really crooked. There we go. Yeah. So those two meds kind of started fighting each other, and then they were like, okay, you can't be on both because it's making you more anxious. And on top of that, it started to make me really violent. It was just the way that the two meds were like mixing in my body, and so they took me off from it, and we kind of never touched on my anxiety again for a long time, 3-4 years. If you know anything about my life, even if you don't, I lived in programs for 5.5 years, mostly for depression and my mental health, but anxiety played into it a lot, and I had to work through what it was like with my anxiety. I had to learn how to kind of cope with it and manage it at the same time. So it was hard. It was really difficult, and I hated it so much. Living with anxiety is really not fun. I hate it. I know I keep saying that I hate it. I really hate my anxiety, because there are days where I will be on top of the world and I will be doing everything right, and I won't feel anxious at all, but if something little happens, it can throw me off, it's hard, and I hate it. When I was in all those programs, they had me on so many different medications that it was a thing. It was horrible. I hated it. When I left programs the third time, I took myself off from every single one of my medications because I was like, I don't need this. It's not worth it. I hate them. I hate the way they make me feel. I kind of felt like I was dragging, and it wasn't me. I felt like a completely different person. These meds were making me a completely different person, and I thought they made me a monster. Because on top of my anxiety medications, I also had things for my depression, and I at one point didn't have enough nutrients, so I was on vitamins, and they had me on sleep medicine because I couldn't sleep, and then they had me on nightmare medicine because I was having nightmares that would keep me up for hours on end, and it's hard, I don't really talk about my anxiety a lot with people, and I know people out there are going through the same thing, but I never, even if I know someone has anxiety, I don't have the courage to be like, hey, how is anxiety like for you? How does it make you react to certain things? What things make you anxious over other things? Because it's an anxiety thing. It makes me super uncomfortable to talk to other people. Yeah. Anxiety is messy if you don't understand it. There's a lot of stereotypes around anxiety. One of the biggest things that I've always gotten is, oh, you're just doing XYZ for attention, right? And no. I have anxiety attacks, and when I have anxiety attacks, I shut down. So I'm a very vocal person. I talk. The sun is in my face again. You know, those things. I'm a social person, I guess is what I can say. And during anxiety attacks, I am not social at all. Like, I don't talk. I don't, I just kind of sit there and shake. And I think I've only had three anxiety attacks in my life that have left me so not good that it's just been dangerous. I don't really want to get into that because I just don't want to, honestly. Like, maybe in the future, like, maybe I will sit down again and talk about, like, specific events that have caused me anxiety, but right now I don't think so. No. I don't know what else to say about anxiety that maybe you don't know or you have questions about it just in general for people. I think anxiety is a very broad thing, and a lot of people have anxiety, but, like, sliding back to the right. I think that a lot of people aren't. I think people are open about it. That's not what I'm trying to say. I think a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about it. And it's one of those things that should be it should be okay to talk about, because anxiety is something that is so important to talk about. And in general, mental health is something so important to talk about. And I just don't get why people don't talk about it. I guess that's what I'm trying to do, is talk about it. Yeah, it's not fun. And in my head, as I was trying to figure out, like, what to say on this, I decided that it would just be better if I just sat down with the camera and I just started talking about it. Honestly, like, I couldn't get myself to even try to, like, script what I was going to say, because it just kind of stressed me out a lot, you know. So this is just kind of my thoughts on it. And I know I jump so much, and I've already said that. I jump so much back and forth to things because I don't know when I've said too much about one thing or not. So yeah, these have just been a few of my thoughts about my anxiety, and I've kind of shared a little bit about my anxiety in general. If you have any questions about it, like, literally anyone, my Twitter's gonna be down in the description. I don't know, leave a comment, leave something. I want to start a conversation about anxiety. If you have questions about my anxiety or about anxiety in general, I will do my best to answer them, because I think it's something that is just so important to talk about. Honestly, like, it's something that needs to always be fucking talked about. And the conversation should never stop about mental illness or mental health things, because mental health is just so important, you know? So, yeah. Thanks for listening, I guess, if you listened. If you didn't, or you just clicked on this video, saw my face, and ran, awesome. Until next time, I want to thank you again for listening. And I'll see you later, I guess. Bye.